Okay, am I good to go?
All right, go ahead and take your seats, folks. And get out your science packets.
Here's a list of things you're going to need for the next couple minutes, as in like 40 minutes. So you're going to need your pencil, the yellow marker, that's at your desk already. And your science spiral out, and the packet that you're using the yellow marker.
Miss Finn, I forgot to tell you, today is a superhero super power day.
Okay.
And so if you're seeing people that are really listening, we have tally marks up there. It's a surprise what they're getting.
Good.
But you can just put a star. I forgot to mention that.
Cool.
I don't know what to get. Oh. Miss Abby, I got 4
So once you have those things that I have listed on the board, let me see your eyeballs looking right at me, because we're going to actually move and you guys are having new groups for this lesson. So. All right. So everyone, once you have those 4 things that I have on the board, pencil, highlighter, siren spiral, and your packet, listen to me because this is where you're going to be sitting for this lesson, okay? Quentin, Claire, and Jameson, you're at this table. Becca, Talon, and Isaac, you're at this table. That's okay. Brody, Hallie, and Gunnar at this table. Jonathan, Olivia, Noah at this table. At that row right there is Sam, Diana, and Dalton. And then behind them, Keegan, Jalen, Cameron. And then at this call table, you guys are going to be standing for this, is Connor, Will, and Cassie. All right, once you're at your new seat, I need a thumbs up when you're ready.
Oh!
I like how Hallie transitioned quickly and quietly, and she's already giving me a thumbs up, and she's super ready. Thank you, Hallie.
I'm confused. Where should I go? Where should I go?
And Claire. Wow, you guys are, wow. A lot of stars for Superhero Day. You're with Diana and Dalton. Right there, yep. All right, is everyone ready? Okay, what have you guys been talking about with this packet? Can someone just give me like the brief idea of what we've been talking about, Jameson? Brains. Oh, like zombies, like brains, right? What? What have you been talking about with the brain? Oh, the human brain. Okay. So does the human brain, what does it do for us? It doesn't do much, right? It does a lot. It does a lot, right? Will, give me an example of what the brain could do for us.
It can tell us to walk, talk.
Remember our names, remember our dad's names, remember our pets. There's a lot of things your brain does. It helps your arms move. Okay, so the brain does pretty much everything, right? Without the brain, we would just be not much, right? So, the brain is the center of our nervous system, right? So we've been learning about the nervous system. And it controls all that we do. So today's purpose is we're learning the parts of the brain and what those different parts do. Okay? So, in your, your packet, yep, there's a page that should be blank, and it has the brain. Can I have you open to that part?
I already knew where we were going to.
Oh, good thinking. Okay, what's up?
We've actually been learning about the nerves.
Oh, okay.
System.
Okay, so what do the nerves do?
They kind of send messages.
Uh-huh.
We've been learning about how the spine is like the highway and the brain controls all
Right, and the nerves send messages to where?
to the brain.
To the brain. And we're learning about the brain today, so this works out nicely, right?
And the teeth.
Becca?
The nerves also send it to the spine.
Yeah, and the spine send it to where?
To the brain for the back.
There you go, guys. Okay, so there's a passage on that page. I want you to read it alone, and we're going to highlight the main ideas. And we've been working on main ideas. Is that a whole sentence, a main idea?
No.
Is it the whole paragraph?
No.
What is it? What's the main idea? Olivia?
pretty much just like 3 or 4 words.
Yeah, like less than 3 or 4 words. Even if you can get it in like 1 or 2 words, that's like ideal. So you're gonna read through the passage and highlight the main idea on your own, and then you're gonna work with your group that you're at your tables with to answer the questions below. And then when you're done with that, if you need help, let me know or let Miss Abbott know. And then when you're done with that, we're gonna come back together and work together on the main idea, okay? All right, go ahead. So with your highlighter, highlight the main idea.
So first of all, we read.
Yep.
So we're gonna
Read.
read it first. Close
Yep,
your
on your own.
highlighter. So we're gonna read first.
My
And the
bad.
second time you read it, you highlight it.
Yep. So read it first silently to yourself. The brain page. Yep. So once you guys are done highlighting those, you guys can work together to answer the questions on your own, okay?
The brain can be thought of as your control. The temporal. What is the temporal?
Okay?
Highlight the control center or central computer. Control center is your nervous system. Control center or computer, your nervous system.
Pause number 2 and number 3 at the bottom should be written in TTQA format, okay?
Okay.
2 and 3. Because obviously number 1 you just fill in one word blank. 2 and 3 should be TTQA.
Highlight nervous system. Send messages. No words. Okay, I think that's all we need. Different. Okay, we're good. Different from 2 and different parts. It's fine. The brain can be thought of as, yeah, you're supposed to be waiting. Okay, what does your brain overload response? No, you have to do it in TQA. No, you don't. She just said that. Were you not listening? Ask her. Don't we have to do it in TQA?
The first one, obviously, it's just, you fill in the blank. So you have to write both sentences blank.
Okay, your brain control.
We're gonna do TTQA, so
Control
say that
your whole entire body. You guys are you get to pick the next one. Okay, I'm gonna do it by yourself. I get so frustrated.
What's up? Hello? Are you guys working together?
So your brain controls
Okay, so we're gonna.
Okay, Noah, you get to pick the next one. Okay, you know, wait for hours.
Okay.
So how can I say
When I
that?
did mine.
That's a lot of writing.
Right here.
Okay, you guys can see.
My brain is reading. Control your brain controls your entire body. Wait, I have to go down. The different parts of the brain. Head, I like this thing.
Ooh, Miss Abbott just made a really good point. That last question, what should be between each of those things you're writing? Comma. Oh, and on TTQA format, the beginning of a sentence needs what kind of letter? Capital. And at the end of a sentence, it needs. Thank you. Wow, you guys are on top of it. If you guys are done, you guys can come to front with me to the main idea. Thank you guys for transitioning. If you guys are done, you can come to front with me to do the main idea together. You can bring your science spiral if you want to write it out. If you want like a hard surface or a house. What's up? Ooh, what are we talking about right now? What are we working on?
The brain.
Is your group done with your? Are you done? Okay, come on up. You are still working, you are still trying to concentrate back there, right? Go ahead. Okay, I just was Okay, so we're gonna start on the main idea. So in that first, who wants to read that first paragraph for us? Will?
The brain can be thought of as the control center or central computer for your nervous system.
Okay, so what did we write as a main idea? Did anyone pull a main idea from that? Jalen? You didn't pull one? Okay, Jameson? control center. So I'm gonna write control center in the main idea. Okay, this is
And the nervous system.
thank you. Oh, nice. I have a packet now.
Okay, I'm gonna, you to start off with that light.
I would love that. Thank you. So I'm gonna write control center. So, and we had another one, did you say Jameson on that?
The
Nervous system. Do you guys number these or do you guys usually do bullets? Bullets, okay.
We're just writing main points, so
Yep.
we're just doing bullets.
Okay.
We're not writing main idea sentence right now.
Right, okay. So in the next section, who wants to read that for us? Olivia?
It controls your entire body and works with the rest of the nervous system to send messages to and from different parts of your body.
Okay, I had one thing underlined in this one. What would we say is the main idea? Claire?
Controls your entire body.
Okay, that's actually a good one, and I didn't have that, so I would say controls body maybe, because we're doing not that many words, right, for main idea. So I'm just gonna say controls body, which actually already is up here. Hold on, let's pause. It already is up here in control center, and we know if it's a control center, usually it would control the whole body, right? So we're gonna write control center, maybe just of body, we'll add that. So it is 4 words, but then we don't have to write it again down here, right? And then I had one more, actually. What's the main thing that we were talking about earlier, Becca?
The nervous system, so it works with the rest of the nervous system.
Okay, that actually has to do with it. So I underlined send messages because that works with the nervous system to send messages. So then I wrote send messages over here because that's a big deal, I think. So who wants to read the next paragraph? It's a kind of a tricky paragraph. Who's got this one? Will? Actually, no, wait, sorry, you already read. Jalen. Sorry, Will.
The brain is made of different parts that work together. The parts are the cerebellum, the brainstem, the frontal lobe, the parietal lobe, the occipital lobe, and the temporal lobe.
Okay, cool. So we have the cerebellum, the brainstem, the frontal lobe, it says down here, so I'm gonna say frontal. The parietal lobe, the occipital lobe, and the temporal lobe. Now I'm gonna tell you something that I kinda did to cheat. Down on the bottom, did we have to rewrite all these parts already?
Yeah.
Do we wanna write them up here? Probably not. So we have them on our paper. I just wrote 6 main parts. Because that's kind of getting the point across. You still have that you have the parts. And the parts are already on your paper down there, so you don't need to write it that many times, right? So I wrote 6 main parts. Alright, and I think we have one more sentence to read out loud. Becca?
Together, the 4 lobes make up the
cerebrum. Okay, so, and then here's another thing, I cheated again. So the 4 lobes, we already know, they all have lobe behind them up here. So I wrote 4 lobes equals cerebrum, because that's an easy way to remember that the cerebrum is made up of the 4 lobes, right? So 4 lobes, and then equal sign like in math, cerebrum. So that means they're the same. The 4 lobes make up the cerebrum is the 4 lobes. Right? Okay, so now that we have the main ideas down, I'll give you guys a second to write those down. And then we're gonna go back to our table and move on. So if you have those written down, you can go ahead and move on. If not, that's fine, just get them all down on your paper.
What?
transitioned really well too. Noah, Will's back there. Who else is back there? Cassie?
It's Colin.
Alright.
You get 155.
Awesome. Okay, so we are going to draw a picture of the brain, but first we're going to talk about the different parts. So we just listed these lobes, so the frontal lobe, parietal lobe, temporal lobe, and occipital lobe. And then we have the brainstem and the cerebellum. So what we're going to do is we're going to read all the different things, the functions or the jobs that these different lobes have and different parts have. So I'm going to read this first one, and then we're going to move on together, okay? So the frontal lobe controls personality, feelings, attention, complex thought, imagination, problem solving, I don't know what word that is, full, and sense of smell. It's kind of blurry up here. So did you guys notice how smoothly I read that even though it's bulleted? So we're working on fluency, right? So we're trying to talk smoothly when we read. Are you reading like a robot or a cheetah? So we're not trying to read really choppy, we're not reading really fast, or really slow like a snail. So we're working on fluency. So, thank you.
Is that better?
Olfactory bulb, there we go, thank you. Okay, so now that I read that first one, we're going to read in groups. So together as a group, we're going to read the temporal lobe. So you guys have it all on your paper, you don't need to read it from up here. So we're going to read it chorally, right? Okay? Oh, you don't? Oh, they don't have a paper. Okay, can you guys all read it from there? From where you are? Okay, come on up if you can. Actually, everyone just come on up. Cause we're sorry, I should have told you to stay here. You can see it. Sorry, guys. Sorry for the confusion. I got glasses when I was your age. All right, can everyone read it now where you're at? Okay, go ahead and have a seat. Okay, we're going to read temporal lobe together. Ready?
Controls, sense of hearing, memory.
Ooh, okay. Sense of hearing and memory. Nice. That's a pretty important lobe then, right? Okay, so you're gonna partner up. So whoever you're sitting by, and you're gonna read brainstem together when I tell you. So partner up. Let's see your partners. You two together. Olivia and Jonathan. Allie and Earl. Yeah. Yes. You two. Gunnar, can you just join this table right here? Okay. So you're gonna read it to your partner, and then I keep running into that. You're gonna read it to your partner, and your partner's gonna read it back to you. Okay? So we're doing brainstem, and then you guys will just go 3 times. Okay? So go ahead. Hold on, pause. You're reading just to your partner, so we'd be yelling like we're reading chorally. Okay, so try to be respectful of everyone around you, because honestly we're in a big group, so let's read a little quieter. Okay, go ahead. Next partner. Okay. Whoa, who knew that this would control digestion of food? I did not know that. That is wild. Okay, now we're going to read this one as a class. This is the cerebellum. Say it after me. Cerebellum.
Cerebellum.
Now sing it. Cerebellum.
Cerebellum.
Oh, beautiful. Wow. Okay, ready? We're going to read it as a class. Controls,
movement, balance.
Oh my gosh, your guys' fluency just sounds so beautiful. Okay, now you're going to turn to your partner again, and you're going to read the occipital lobe. If you read first last time, you're reading second this time. Okay, go ahead. Wow. What is this control? Wow. And let's say it after me. Occipital lobe. Now growl it. Oh, I didn't know you guys would be able to do that. Okay, and then we're gonna read this one as a group, okay? Parietal lobe. Okay, we're reading it together. Ready?
Controls, movement, sense of touch, sense of taste, sense of temperature.
Oh, that's a lot. That's a lot of stuff to control. Okay, so now we're gonna get out our siren spirals, because I thought you guys had this. That's my apology. We're gonna get out the siren spiral and draw a thing of the brain, a picture of the brain. Now, tell me really quickly, does the texture of this look the same as the texture of this?
No.
Okay, so that should be evident in your photo, right? In the picture that you draw. And if you get done drawing the different parts, you can color them in so that you can see them easier. Make sure you leave room to label it, okay? All right, go ahead.
Okay.
Science spiral. Yes, back to your table that the teams that I gave you.
Yes.
Oh, wait.
We get to draw first.
Okay.
Okay.
You. Make sure you have all the parts. If it were me drawing it, I would do the outline of the whole thing first, and then the outline of the different sections, so that it's easier before you do the details of the ridges. Do you guys know what I mean? Okay. That's just me. That's just how I would draw it.
Okay, that's my brain. I need it.
It doesn't have to be perfect. I promise you.
Can we go this way?
This is not an art class yet.
Mine's not very good.
You just need to get all the parts.
I can find the. I wish I could like put a big piece of paper on the board. Best brain I can do. Yes. Wait, you did sorry. Best brain I can. Oh, I wish I could just control. Just like making it like what? Oh my god.
You have all the parts.
What? You need the brain stems. Mine looks better. Brain stems down there. No, this is mine.
And then you can, once you label them, write the functions too on them.
Stop. Cameron, no letters. Mine looks like a
It doesn't have to be perfect. Okay. Maybe speak a little louder. Concentrate on working.
I made a question mark. It's wait. Make a what? Question mark. Yeah. I can see I'm working for tonight.
Maybe you should draw it with a pencil first in case you need to erase.
I got my brain does. Does my brain mine looks like a
Yeah,
here.
that's nice. So then, what's up?
How do you say the yellow word?
Occipital. Listen, occipital. Like an ox, like the animal. Have you heard of an ox? Occipital. Nice. Good job. Occipital. Yep. Yeah, that's pretty good. It doesn't have to be perfect, I promise. You just need all the parts. What's up? So, yeah, and if I were you, yeah, I would outline it darker. Well, I would do colored pencil, but outline it darker with your pencil so you can tell the different parts. And then make sure you have time to label them. So coloring is not first. Yep.
So, it's then, should we do it in colored pencil?
Yes, colored pencil.
So
We're not doing it in marker because it's a thin paper, so lightly color it and colored pencil. Good question. Just make the different sections so you can label, and there is general directions, the general same spot.
Mine looks like a tree with wings.
I like how you guys are working and how you're already onto the labeling. Thank you.
I think mine was that bigger.
You know what I mean? Otherwise you won't be able to tell.
I don't think that's good.
But then you don't have to do these. So maybe that's after you color. Okay. Good for you. As long as you have a different section, general spot. That's really good. Okay, I keep hitting my head.
Does it have any purple?
And leave room that you can write the function. Okay? And then if you start down labeling, you can write.
Well, that's what I didn't
Oh, that's
I'm just kind of shaking it.
no, that's okay. So write all the parts first, and when you're done with that, if you have time, then you write the functions. Yeah, but then you will write them.
Got purple.
So you can't color until you're done with your friends.
Okay, make sure you have the parts. Label them here.
Okay, so you've got to have your labels.
Drawings.
Then you've got to have your labels before you color.
Yep. Label before you color. You have all your. You have the colors. You have the labels all down. Alright, go ahead and do that. And undo what's been done.
Do it lightly, okay? Because we can't use markers.
Okay, so now that you have all the pieces down, try to write some of their functions underneath so you can remember what they do. You're moving so fast. I gotta keep you challenged, you know?
Okay. All right, you're ready to write and color. Make sure you write all the parts.
So which one of the lobes is for hearing? Can someone tell me? Or can we all tell me? For hearing, sense of hearing. Temporal lobe, okay. Which one controls what I see?
Parental lobe. I don't know how to say
What,
it.
the sense of sight?
The
Occipital lobe, there we go.
Keegan, you're like, oh.
It's okay. Yeah, keep labeling. Which one of the lobes would control my personality?
Well, no.
What is it?
Your
Frontal lobe. Which part of my brain controls the digestion of food?
brainstem.
Ooh, that was quick.
And then she walks away.
And then mic drop. Which part controls movement? Movement?
Cerebellum.
That's okay. If you're still labeling,
Oh, you need your brain.
still label.
I already got your You're done. I already got your brain.
Which lobe controls my taste? Taste.
Frontal. Got it all. Temporal. The blue. The brainstem. Not the brainstem. Cerebrum. Wait,
I don't want you to. Okay. Parietal lobe. Okay. There we go.
The blue.
Okay. Are yours all labeled? Keep labeling. Nice.
I'm just seeing if that blood.
Okay, once you have your brain drawn and labeled with the functions under, go ahead and sit at your desk. And give me a thumbs up. Yep. With their jobs, you could say.
Okay, do I have to do this all?
Yep, because there's a lot of things to remember and just a hint. You don't have to memorize it because you'll have that in front of you.
Don't know why that is ever.
but you can maybe try to help yourself remember, and writing it down helps your memory. Writing something down helps.
Oh my gosh, the cerebellum waves so should they show you when you're done, so then they'll be able to go on to the next part?
Oh, yeah. So, yeah, when you are done, we do have another activity that we're doing. So should we have them write the function underneath, or are we keeping this up before the like
They should have
the function, their jobs? Okay. Then when you're done with all the parts and their jobs, you can come show me, and then I will help you move on.
Hey, do we have to do like the boxes and put everything?
You don't have to do the boxes, but you do need to write down their functions, yes, their jobs,
Oh, okay.
or what they do for the brain.
Oh, man. If I get out of the box, hold it in there.
That's fine.
This looks like a dinosaur.
You better
Purple. The little one? The big one yellow?
the part.
I think it's a red.
That's your pencil. No, wait.
He's on the
Oh, right. Okay. Okay, go on.
doing the biggest ones.
Like the other color better.
And then you
Purple. Can I color it before I I just rub my skin on it. I need to color. All of you. Get mine.
Alright,
Are you done?
get to writing the functions. Write the functions of the so that you can get that, because then
Compliment my one.
kind of get that sauce.
That's nice. I like that. I like that. Dude, I honestly like that. How you like my homies? Actually, no, I don't. That's red. Oh, no, yeah, it's this one. It's like a little. Oh, yeah. Could have just took them. Oh, it is a blue ray. That's how I drew this. I'm like, right.
Okay, you just write functions, because then you can move on to the next activity.
It's a little
Once
harder
you
than
get your
it's
Play-Doh for your project,
Homesick or do
do not put it on the table.
This is
Do
just
not lay it on the body. If you're squishing it
Are
and
you
molding
listening?
it, put it on a piece of paper. Because
You have to soften
otherwise
it up.
it gets really icky. It's like got some kind of a wax
Glue,
oil
maybe.
in it. And it's a mess to clean up. So I'm bringing you a piece of paper. You have to work the Play-Doh around. So you gotta soften it up, you gotta mold it just like you do with regular Play-Doh, but this is a little harder. And then do not put it on your papers until you're ready to put it on your brain. So Miss Finn will explain that in just a minute.
Yep.
soft enough I remember.
You just gotta keep using your hand.
Not the brain stem. I got 4 things. I just need to
Keep going.
Hey, you guys do class changes when writing lessons without even starting.
Well, you can put it on the paper and then try to script it down.
Color.
Well, done. I'm done. I'm done.
color, Rebecca?
Yeah, I need one.
Yeah, purple and pink and blue. Like I said, you
Okay,
okay?
I'm done. Do I need it?
Just keep working it.
Yeah, make it get squishy and stuff. It's not soft yet.
And remember to do it on that piece of paper like she said.
This is kind of getting softer. Oh,
She's gonna explain something.
Okay, everyone, can we pause for 1 second? So I can have everyone's attention, everyone pencils down for 1 second. It'll be like 30 seconds actually, not just one. Okay, so we have our Play-Doh and we're going to make a model brain on the human that you have at your desks, right? So, like I was talking about earlier, the texture of this seems different than the texture of this, right? Okay, and then the texture of this is also kind of similar to this, but not the same. So when we're making our brain, we're wanting to kind of make that evident or make that obvious that they're different. And so we want to make ridges in these ones, and then this one kind of looks more smooth, almost like you like pull it out like you would that sticky stuff that you guys like to play with. I don't know what it's called, slime. Yeah. So we want to make sure that that's pretty obvious on our person, on our brain. Okay. So there's different textures that you can do, and you can work with your partner. So then you need to work with you're making it with your group. So you need to communicate with your group. This is what we do this in the real world. All the time you have to communicate with groups and talk about which part you're making, because you guys can't both make a frontal lobe, because we can't have two frontal lobes in one brain, right? Okay, just one. So you need to communicate with your group to talk about which part you're making. Are you making an example to show? Miss Abbott is making an example of
The frontal lobe.
the frontal lobe.
So I have to make it nice and soft. And so then what I can do is I can take it and I can make my ridges. I got a nice long stringy thing, and I can make it like that. So it's all kind of folded over. And then I'm gonna put it in the right place on my brain. Should I put it right here? 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 Here?
Yes.
Okay, maybe about right here, because this is my frontal lobe, right? So I'm gonna put it right there then, okay? Now, the longer you mold it and work it, then it will get longer, and then you'll be able to make it big enough for your whole frontal lobe. If you don't mold it and work it, then it was really small, like mine was. Mine didn't fit the whole frontal lobe, did it? So I'm gonna keep working it till it gets really nice and soft and pliable, okay?
Okay, cool. Keep writing. Thank you for that example.
Yeah, if your hands are gonna be the color,
Yes.
well, it depends on the color, greens and reds are really good.
Is that kind of all in this together?
Obviously.
Okay, did you talk to your group about which part in it? Okay, so then maybe you can choose one so that you can get to going, right? So each person's gonna do, okay, so start on one. And then so then when they're ready, you can say, hey, I'm doing this one. And then they can choose which one they want, you know what I mean?
Can I make the frontal lobe? I've already started. Do we cover them?
So which,
Where did you put
You have to bring your notebook to Miss Finn.
No.
To see that you've got everything labeled,
No, I don't.
and then she'll get, okay?
Done?
which one is it? Send it here.
See if you want one of mine for the temporal one?
Don't break mine. Hey, Mrs. Finn, look how long I got mine.
Nice, yeah. So then you guys can
I'm making that.
You can make it a little thinner if you want.
Are there only two people in your guys' group? Okay, so you're gonna
Then you're gonna,
three
you wanna
parts?
do the frontal
Yeah.
lobe,
It
Sam?
has to be.
It's
up to you. Okay, easy.
Yeah, we don't want that.
So labeled.
Brainstem is different.
Awesome. Okay, go ahead and choose a color from either this or actually the back corner.
Okay, because that is going to work for the brainstem, because the brainstem is going to be a blob of Play-Doh. And you're gonna draw lines down through it. Because that's going to be where,
Is this one enough? Yes. I feel really weird.
Okay, are you gonna start working on one of them?
I'm sorry, myself.
Which one have you decided you want to work on? Okay, then try to make it longer like this, you know what I mean? Are you working on one too, Sam? Oh, looks like good friends a little.
I might do the brainstem. She said that she would give this to me. She's taking it out. I don't even know what to do with this one.
I saw 3 more.
Two?
And then you got anything go opposite below, it goes behind you right here.
So I take this.
So Sam, go ahead and put it on the floor. You guys are gonna, so this is gonna be the frontal, okay? So remember how she kind of was doing it, like back and forth, back and forth? Okay. Do that. Yep, and then.
Where's the frontal lobe?
Yep. And then
Which one is it? Is that the brainstem? You tell me. Is that right? That looks like it's big enough? So you need to work with your group. Do your
Frontal lobe.
same.
And the brainstem.
Yeah, this looks, the flatter you make it, it'll get longer and longer.
the lighter, the darker.
Go from the back corner.
Are you ready for another one? Make sure
Purple, blue.
so they're not the same.
Each of these brainstorm.
Good job.
What do I do with the brainstem? Where was it at? Oh, it's right
You don't have like a frontal lobe. Okay, do that quickly and then you can pick a color, okay?
Where is he?
Make sure you don't have the same as your partner, okay?
I'll take it.
You can just make it for the front. Just fold it up like you're
You know what? I'm doing the frontal lobe and the brainstem.
Oh, you by yourself?
Oh, you're already done. See, look, I know.
So now you're gonna put that on your frontal lobe right there. Now you're gonna come get that color. Oh, you're gonna come get that. You want him to color? No.
I think this is
Okay. So this is your frontal lobe?
Yeah, and then I put it out.
What, you got it for,
Yeah, that's the color. Make it round.
Good job. Try to pick a color.
So Sam already did a pink.
What's that one?
So you can show.
Pretty big, I think. Yeah. So maybe
Are you gonna do the other one?
you guys can work together and bring your brainstorm like that. And you're fine. You're not going to pick up. We're brainstorming on brains. I bet.
I think it feels like that blue stuff that you can put in. Yeah, that's what I meant.
Yeah, and you guys should each have 2 parts, so you need to work together.
I don't have
No, it doesn't have to be the same color. So you can choose a color. Because there are 6 parts. But you guys need to work together. You need to talk about which part you're doing.
Yeah, so now, so Diana,
No, we don't each have 3. No, you already chose it. You get 2 colors anyway, so just do that one. So you're gonna do the each one of us gets 2. They have 3.
I'll do the group. I'll do this one. I'll do this one and then the. No, I already did the red and the green. I'll do the red and the green.
Yeah, it'll never leave you.
Because I have a big and just flat.
So then I have one doing the little brain.
What's up?
Probably right there, huh?
Why?
Yeah, you just do that like pink.
You shouldn't be mixing it.
Yeah, kind of.
You think this will be like
You should just be laying them on the
There's some other colors that we
Oh, it's just hard because it's not soft yet.
see, that one was just an
I would say this is
extra.
softer than the green.
How do you do it? You do it like this. Is this good?
You can't just leave it like that, Sam, you gotta work it.
Wait, oh, okay.
What do you want, purple too?
The light Once you touch it, you have to take it and fix it.
You're welcome. What orange do you want? This one? Okay.
Can I have a
Well, I have one ready. See?
He's already doing this.
Yeah, you already, yeah. I think that'll be fine. That's close enough. Because you've already touched it like she said.
Thank you.
What do you need to know?
Just that. Thank you. Yeah, I need another color.
Okay, so we need blue or green or yellow.
I could have this in my hands all day. Oh gosh. Okay, keep working on your brains. You have a little paper.
So we stick on there. Yes, the new ones are hers. Yep. So you need, which one is there? Okay, so either green or yellow, Sam.
I was saying yellow.
This one, I'm gonna give you this one. This one's soft. It's softer. Feel it how it's softer than the newer one, okay? Okay, so this it's just kind of a blob. It's just that little pretty piece of paper. Work with it. Work on your paper with it. You'll be the green.
Should I just keep it like this?
The brain stem. This is all the brain. What are you working on, Diana? The brain stem?
No, the bright, that tan color is the brain. She's doing
Let's move this brain stem right here. And the brain stem actually has some arrows in it. So we're going to take your pencil, we're going to make some lines going down.
It doesn't have to be just
Okay? So you can see the lines going down.
You should start working on that.
Yep, that's going to work. That's going to be your
Color purple,
occipital. And that's your, what is it? Occipital, your eyes. Very good. Yeah, it's a, it's yeah, like an S. So what's that part that's on there? What does the brain stem help you do? Controls your
without opening on what?
your digestive system, your breathing.
Yeah.
So that control that. So if your brain
You're talking about which actual part it is, what color, which part it is, the parietal, the occipital, and then you can talk about
Yeah, the more you play with it. This one doesn't really, this one just kind of has some, our brain stem, maybe go.
Sorry,
Okay, you have to mold that a little bit more, so can't be just a ball there.
Yeah, it's supposed to have furrows. And then after you're done, you're gonna rip this piece of paper out. Because the oil from this Play-Doh will get on all your pages.
let's hear it.
Not on the table.
Yeah.
Okay, so what is
Which parts are you guys working on?
What's this from here?
And you're working on cerebellum? So which one do you say it again? Like the animal. Occipital, yep. Ox like the animal. Oh, yours very good to know.
So what are you making, Will?
What color are you looking for?
What is brainstem control?
There might be,
I think that's
yeah, go ahead and take two.
no. Let me choose what color.
What is it?
Black.
Sam, don't be touching. Yeah.
Disconnected.
That one in the middle.
Now you got this. Now you got. Okay. I already did my. That in the right spot.
So you might get a one.
What color are you looking for?
Okay, folks, we have 10 minutes left, so your brain should be, you're doing the finishing touches, the last couple parts. 10 minutes left.
So what are you making, Brody? Use tricks to help you remember these. Okay, so what are you working on, Noah?
Probably like that triangle that you see.
And what is the occipital control?
Occipital, like the,
Occipital. Yeah. What are you working on, Jonathan? The cerebellum. What is the cerebellum? The cerebellum that controls your.
just the brain. Okay, there we go, we're done.
Not the heart. Cerebellum. Like a trick. Balance. Cerebellum controls balance. Think about tricks that help you remember.
I do like that.
You know, Miss Finn, I think you want to do this.
Oh, okay.
That's it. Each other on individual thing.
Yep.
And so then one is
Okay. Right. Oh, that's the nose. Okay, so I want you to finish the part of the brain that you're working on. Where do we want to put you?
We'll just, I'll get it to you.
Okay, so we're gonna put them on the tall table that Will is at. We're gonna finish the one you're on, and then we're gonna finish it up next week. You're gonna finish it. Okay, then maybe put that one back, and you guys can finish that one next week. Okay? With what? With the dry erase?
I'll get some.
Okay, finish the one you're on.
This is not gonna work. This is a highlighter.
Yeah, it's going to.
Alright, so you guys can over that one.
Okay, when you fix your permanent marker, you're writing it down at the bottom by his feet.
You're not.
Down at the bottom by his feet.
I only got one.
Write your names on the bottom by his feet once you get a marker. And then watch your hands, and the guys should go on the back standing table.
Down by his feet.
If you haven't used the Play-Doh yet, give it to me. You haven't? Did you use it yet? Okay.
But don't undo it. This is right here. Okay, that's done.
We've got more steps to do. That's why you want to come back every day. You never know what we're going to do. I can't read that page. All right, we're going to finish. We have our name on it.
Alright.
Oh, wait. All right, okay. So we're going to put a name on it, and we're going to put it over on the table. And you're going to return to your regular seat.
Can you put this back on that
A.
Alright, once you're done, have a seat back at your table with your group. And then,
Can you guys wash your hands?
Oh, I need to.
okay, once you guys at your table, or at the back table, you should be sitting at your table. And then,
We stay at the table.
yep, with your groups. Okay, and then there's envelopes on here, and you'll each need an envelope, because I think they're under that. Claire, you guys will each need an envelope.
That's not ours. This is ours. We're not done with it.
Where's your seat? That's your hands where I know
Alright, I'm giving you 1 more minute to transition. Go with the groups that you've been with this whole lesson. So sit where you've been this whole time. Please. We have one more thing to do. Okay, and then once you're at your table, you should each grab an envelope that's at your table group.
Envelope.
You guys,
You do each need one, but there's an extra. Yep. Okay, once you have your envelope, let me see your, stick your tongue out. Quietly.
Wait, until it's off.
So if you guys functions and think about them. Maybe.
I can't wait for a second recess and then I get
Alright, if you're ready, your eyes should be on me. There you go. You don't have to stick your tongue out the whole time. Okay, so we're going to do a quick check. So what's going to happen is I'm going to tell you one of the functions, and then you're going to find the name, you're going to hold it in your chest. I'm going to count to 5, and then you're going to hold it in the air, okay? This is the test to see if you remember the parts and their functions. So first I'm going to go through the parts, so you repeat after me, okay? Frontal lobe.
Frontal lobe.
Parietal lobe.
Parietal lobe.
Occipital lobe.
Occipital lobe.
We're going to say that ox like the animal, occipital. Say it one more time, occipital.
Occipital.
Nice. Temporal lobe.
Temporal lobe.
Brainstem.
Brainstem.
Cerebellum.
Cerebellum.
Nice. Okay, so which part of your brain controls your sense of sight? Hold it to your chest, and I'll count to 5. 1. Which part of your brain controls your sense of sight? If you have it, put it on your chest. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Nice.
Occipital.
Okay. You guys have back there? Occipital. Nice. Nice. Occipital. Occipital. There were 3 here, so they're just here.
Now watch me.
I have my next one here too.
All right, we're moving on. Which part controls your hearing? Hold that to your chest. Which one went on your ears? Do you guys remember which one went on your ears on your guy? We're not saying it. We're not saying it. I'm just.
We don't.
Okay, hold it to your chest. Ready? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. You should have temporal lobe held up for hearing. Nice, nice. What do we have over here? Are you guys paying attention? No. Okay, which one controls movement? Which one controls movement? There's a few options that you could be right on this one. Movement.
I think so.
All right. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. You should have parietal and cerebellum. Nice. All right. Which one would control my sassy personality? I'm sassy. That's right. Wait, no, hold it to your chest. Sassy personality. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Which one do we have held up? Frontal lobe. Okay, we have one more. Which one did I think was weird that controlled the food digestion? Hold it up to your chest. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Brainstem. I did not know that. Brainstem. And then Miss Abbott was making a good point, and it kind of sounds alike. Which one controls balance? Did anyone hear her saying that?
No.
Miss Abbott, what's the answer? Hold it to your chest. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Mrs. Abbott, which one was it? All right, go ahead and put those back in your envelopes. Bring the envelopes to me, and then line up. Recess. And I think you guys are going out to recess, so jackets will be wanted.
Miss Abbott.
And necessary.
Miss Abbott.
All right, Sammy. There you go.
done, Chubby.
Great job.
Noah. This was on the floor by Sam. You probably don't want to lose that.
Yes. Can't wait to show you my costume. It's very nice. It's very good. Wait, I think you told me this. Everybody else? You need them.
Yeah. 1-0.
Good job.
Are you gonna wear a superhero?
No, I'll show you though.
You
I'm
guys have
excited
to go
to wear my
outside.
costume.
We're gonna wear something about sports.
Okay.
Sabbath has recess. I'm wearing it. I'm gonna be Flo from Progressive.
Oh.
Are you still here?
No.
You need me?
Yes.
I'm gonna.
I'll see you tomorrow though.
My
You
joke.
should be going on to recess, sis.
Can I just tell you a joke?
Sure.
So my joke is gonna be.
Wait, I'm seeing you tomorrow. Don't tell me. Don't tell me. I'll see you tomorrow. Tell me tomorrow.
Okay.
Okay,
My brother Charlie's gonna be a Charlie horse. He's gonna be wearing a horse mask and wearing a name tag.
Well, that's pretty. That's
I
actually
am.
pretty good.
Hi, my name is.
Yes. Is that all right? What?
What?
Wow. Oh my gosh. How many times have I done that?
8. I need socks.
What? Yeah.
Sharpen.
Yes.